If you thought you liked the podcast before,
wait till you hear us now. This is the Family Football Podcast, brought to you by Dub Street.
And if you didn't pick up on Brandon's excited about his thing, he bought himself a new fancy microphone. And so you, in theory, should hear better.
You should hear excellent.
Yeah, he's really excited about it.
We should sound super great. More than we normally do. More than our normal, beautiful voices.
So this is it, Brandon. It's come down to this, the championship. Honestly, I don't know what we're going to do during COVID without this to keep us going.
Oh, well, that's some good news for everybody because this isn't stopping.
Oh, we're going to keep the fantasy football podcast rolling?
We're going to keep the podcast rolling.
Brandon's going to do a deep dive into stats.
Because we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot in this league to talk about, and it doesn't end with this season, so stay tuned beyond this for the greatest thing to ever happen in whatever made-up sports game that we're playing, which isn't dominoes. But we should be playing that. We should be playing some dominoes, people. We figured that out. Get on that.
Virtual dominoes.
Okay. So let's get into a review of last week. What went down?
Last week decided who was going to go to the finale.
Yeah, and we've got one right here. There she is. Back in the finals.
This is my year.
You beat Julie pretty handedly, Julie. Right?
It was a modest victory. I think I beat her about 15 to 20 points.
Okay. It
was decisive.
That's a decisive. It's not a crushing. It's not like a crushing victory, but it's like I beat you. Stay down. Don't get up.
And then Gregory decisively lost.
He lost pretty bad.
To Chris. Chris beat Gregory to make the Amanda versus Chris matchup,
which we've seen once before. We'll talk about that in a bit. Mm-hmm. But Gregory made that really big, dangerous move, that trade to get Hilaire, and he gave away CMC. And Hilaire put up a big...
Zero.
So
points. It looks like this trade really didn't work out for Gregory or I.
But because
now CMC is not going to play in the finale.
Well, we don't know that. He is...
doubtful.
Is he doubtful or questionable?
Doubtful.
He's doubtful now.
Doubtful. Ooh. But honestly, Gregory, I got to thank you, because if I hadn't traded Hilaire, I probably would have kept him in my lineup. Hilaire put up 0. I put up Sterling Shepard instead, who got 13 points. So you actually helped me not play Hilaire. So thank you.
Yeah, you got a bad player off your bench. Yeah. Hilaire, I would never. Hilaire's the worst. So other things that happened last week.
We had a Battle of the Basement.
Battle of the Basement again.
Part 2. Gonna be soon part 3.
Yeah, we'll talk about all the part 3s in a second. I beat Nick in a crazy game. If you were watching just fantasy scores throughout the week.
Very high scoring.
Yeah, that was a huge high scoring game between Nick and I.
Jenna, there was a Battle of California.
Mm-hmm. Which I think will go for a run back. A lot of run backs this week if you haven't picked it up from the commish. So it was a pretty interesting last week, and should boil out to be a really interesting final week for everybody. Grudge matches.
So
finishing out.
For Peaks of the Week, I like to say, as Brandon kind of alluded, our worst player goes to Clyde Edwards-Hilaire.
Oh, yeah.
Who put up a nice 0.
It was 0.
Literal 0.
I mean, defenses can put up 0,
It wasn't even like he was injured. It was that he...
just didn't put up a point.
Yeah.
That's so sad, especially for a running back on one of the most prolific offenses in the league. Like, you got to put up points.
Best player goes to Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
Darren Waller put up 45. So Brandon really had has a really love-hate relationship with Derek Carr.
Yes, so, if you watched me lose to Julie in the first round of the playoffs, Derek Carr put up diddly squat.
0.6.
Yeah. And then last week he puts up 37 because, did he suddenly remember that he is one of the best tight ends in the game, and all he needs to do is throw the ball to Derek Carr, and then they'll both win and score, and what is going on?
Darren Waller helped Brandon have the high score of 166, and Jenna delivered Rob the worst loss.
Yeah, what was that?
So 58 points.
58 points. Ooh.
Yeah,
that is a decimation.
And then I'd like to just make a note of Anthony's unwillingness and lack of caring for being in the bottom. He played Tom Brady on bye.
Ugh. Ant-Man, get in the game. Get in the game, son. Maybe that explains a little bit. We'll look at some past histories a little bit later, and Anthony failing is not a new thing in this league.
So what are we gonna do? Pick 6?
It's pick 6. So let's see what we got this week. If you didn't see the commission's text, we have a lot of grudge matches. A lot of matches this week have got kind of moved around, so people can see who wins the rubber match.
Yeah, so Brandon said, I really don't want to play Nick again. I'd like to get the verses of Julie. And Gregory kindly set up a couple more fun matches for us for some more tension between the teams.
Yeah, Kamish did a great job. So I'm going up against Julie this week. I beat her during the season pretty well. She crushed me in playoffs, and now it's time for me to exact revenge.
Brandon, I think you have this.
I think I have this too. I'm not playing Derek Carr because he can go rot in a burning pit. But Cooper Cup's already put up good points for me, to the chagrin of Chris, because when Cooper Cup does well, Robert Woods often gets some points taken away from him. And
he only put up like 9?
I think it was like 8.
Yeah, not enough.
And that's not good for a final. But I think I'm beating Julie this week. I think I'm taking that one. I'm getting my revenge.
And another rubber match, we've got Nick versus Gregory, and they're
split again.
They are within 0.4 of each other. And if you don't remember, Gregory edged out Nick's by 0.3, so I'm hopeful that it'll be just as close and just as amazing.
Well, and that's the thing. Last time they played too, their initial projections were like nearly identical as well. So this is like,
a great matchup.
These two teams are super matched up. Although Gregory got a huge advantage playing the Rams defense, they put up 21 points for him. A defense. So he's like just clawing into that. I think Nick still has this one though. I think Nick's going to take this. I think Nick's got the more explosive team. I think he can have it. Who do you think?
I'm going to give it to Gregory.
You're going Gregory on that defensive play?
We got Brian versus Jenna.
Another California matchup again.
I still got to pick Jenna. I just think Jenna's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jenna has the explosive team. She's the team I didn't want to make playoffs because I was super afraid of her. In the end, it didn't matter for me. But I think she's got a team that can just lay down the hammer.
Annie versus Anthony. I can't pick Anthony to win, especially after he's shown such lack of initiative.
Their projections are close. They're within 9 of each other, so like kind of a touchdown swing on a receiver.
Annie.
But I don't know. Well, yeah, Ant-Man's playing the Seahawks defense, so that's just bad. I'm going Annie on this one.
And then Rob versus Will. Who cares?
That's the battle of the basement again.
Yeah.
Who do you think's taking that one though? These two have been fighting back and forth in the battle of the basement for like 3 weeks in a row.
I think it's gonna be Rob. I always pick Rob. I'm gonna keep picking Rob.
I think it's William this time.
All right.
I think it's Will. I think Will's got it. And the last matchup, the matchup that matters, the thing that we've been playing for this whole season, and only 2 of us get to, experience. You and Chris.
Yep, me and Chris.
The championship matchup. Who's gonna win that?
Well, I'm projected 138. Chris is projected 116. Chris has already played one player who only put up 8. They now, ESPN now has percentages, and they're projecting me 60% chance of winning.
Yeah, and because this is the championship game, I want to spend some time in breaking down player to player and just see, like, is there anybody who can go full, nuclear in this matchup, totally steal a win?
For whatever reason, I've got incredibly good matchups this week. I'm in the green. All of my players are playing trash offense. Their defenders are really
it's a really good set. Chris's aren't bad. They're kind of middle of the road. But let's just go through like quarterback, running back, and see like are there any explosive players that could just like.
So we got Russell Wilson versus Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson has recently gone down in terms of his projections. I actually thought about playing Tannehill, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Russell will help me get here. I'm gonna keep it strong.
I mean, they say player studs, and that's what Wilson is. So. I don't see Wilson, like you said, he's kind of like dipping recently. I don't see him having a crazy game.
Yeah, but he's not going to get like 0.6 like Derek Carr.
He's not going to pull a car. So I'm saying Wilson's getting like 15, 16.
I think Deshaun Watson's going to outscore him, though.
I think Watson can go big, but, Chris is taking you're hedging your bet there because Watson's got Chicago, and Chicago's a good defense.
Yeah.
So I really don't see quarterbacks being the win here. If we look at running backs, you've got...
Alvin Kamara. Hey, the only thing I got going for me, though, is Drew Brees still not playing?
Drew Brees is still not playing, which means...
So Kamara is at a disadvantage without Brees. And
Correct.
So Taysom Hill will give him some things, but he's not going to score enormously.
Taysom Hill steals a lot of dump-off passes from Kamara, which in our PPR league is huge. And Taysom Hill's going to get a rushing touchdown, which he's going to steal from Kamara as well.
And David Montgomery's been playing really well. He's got a really good matchup, and he's playing...
That's Houston.
Oh, he's playing Houston.
Yeah.
So he's got a good matchup. I actually think they're going to be split pretty evenly, David Montgomery and Kamara. And I only say that because Taysom Hill's playing instead of Brees.
I think this game might be secretly boiled down to the Seahawks-Jets game because you're playing Russell Wilson, but Chris has Chris Carson that he's playing as running back. And if this game goes run-heavy for whatever reason, weather turns or Wilson's just like not feeling it that day, Chris Carson could put up
big numbers.
If he explodes and Wilson kind of fumbles there or like kind of like falters, then Chris could get back in this game. And it's pretty much, I think, riding on the back of Chris Carson here.
And my running back is James Robinson, who's been consistently amazing.
Yeah,
so he's going to stick, and he's playing Tennessee, so he should have a fine matchup.
He's going to put up 15 to 18 points. He's going to do well.
Thielen is always he's touchdown dependent, but
that could steal you this game though.
But Thielen can really show up.
He can show up. He can put up 20 points in a game. You could win it there. On the flip side though,
Corey Davis went huge last week. He got like 35 points.
If you've I don't know if you've
been
following
Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's so good. I actually had Corey Davis early on this year. And then when Tennessee went down for COVID and then Corey Davis got COVID, we still had minimal benches. So I ended up dropping him. Chris ended up picking him up. Chris also picked up Tim Patrick, who I dropped. So, Chris, if you are out there and you're just stalking my teams and picking up whoever I'm dropping, it's working, apparently. But both of those players could go off. But you've got Lockett, and if he goes off with Wilson...
I've done that before and gotten huge numbers because of it. The highest scores I've got have been when Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett are connecting.
So there are 3 Seattle players in this fantasy championship here.
So if anyone's watching to see who's going to win, I'd recommend watching the Seattle game.
That's the Seattle game. Like you're looking to see who catches passes and who gets touchdowns there.
Similar to Nick hoping that Deontay Johnson catches his balls, I'm hoping that Eric Ebron catches them. So he's my tight end. He was a pickup for me after George Kittle got injured. He's been pretty serviceable, so I shouldn't expect a big deviation in how he plays.
Yeah, I don't see the tight ends making or breaking this game. I see each tight end here because Hayden Hurst isn't bad. And he's playing with Atlanta. They're going to pass a lot, and they're playing the Chargers. Not like it. Pretty middle of the road defense there.
My flex position, I've got DeAndre Swift in right now. Obviously, my plan was to have CMC, but CMC being listed as doubtful is probably a no-go for me.
If CMC was playing, this would be a slam dunk. But DeAndre Swift is questionable now, though.
I know he's been questionable all week. He could be a game time for me. Last week I played Sterling Shepard, who I could play again, or I also could play this Marvin Jones Jr., who's a wide receiver for Detroit. So my flex is not necessarily going to stay locked in.
Your question with the flex is, do you want like 8 to 12 points off of Swift, or do you want to try to get something a little bit bigger? But your projection's higher at this point, so maybe you just take like the given points.
I'm going to see. If Swift is healthy, I'll probably play him.
Chris is the one who's trying to swing for the fences here to catch you. Tim Patrick can do it. He has put up big points this year with Denver. He is able to. But he also has McCole Hardman, sitting on Kansas City. If he wants to shoot for like a grand slam, you can drop that in.
Yeah, he could also get 0 with McCole
but he could
Hardman.
also get 0. But hey, you're in the championship, right? Like, you're trying to do what you got to do.
That's why I tried to get CMC. So defenses, I think they're pretty equal.
I think defense is going to be fine, and kickers are going to be whatever. So
it's going to be a big game.
I think you've got the edge here, but I think it all boils down to Seattle. If Wilson does poorly, then Lockett's going to do poorly, or could do poorly, and right there, that could be 30 points, bring you down. And then if Chris Carson gets that, Chris can go up, and he could take it. So there is a chance Chris does this. I think it's in the Seattle game. That's the game I am watching this week, more than any other one. And that is on Sunday, 4:05 Eastern Time.
So you want to show them?
Okay, so let's...
We're going to do a breakdown. So if you think that the Chris-Amanda matchup's familiar, it's because it is.
Yeah, so if you're a long-time player in this league, you'll recognize that the Chris-Amanda matchup is actually the matchup of the first season, and we're going to look at all of the breakdowns of who's kind of done what in the breakdown corner.
So season 1, Chris and I played each other. First season, it turns out that Chris ended up beating me 95 to 94.
No, it was 96-95.
Oh, 96-95.
Learn your history. History is not your strong suit.
Yeah, 96-95. So Chris beat me by a whopping 1 point to win the championship.
And that was season 1. And if you weren't here in season 1, it was a very different season. Chris pretty much destroyed that league with Peyton Manning. And it was a different league because
we only had 8 players.
We had 8 players. We didn't have PPR. So pretty much you were hoping your wideouts were counting on touchdowns in order to score. Same with your running backs. It was a 4-point quarterback league, so rushing quarterbacks did
huge.
much better. It was a very different time. If you got to score over 100 in a week, it was like, wow, how impressive. And Chris set the all-time points record in a game week 1 with like 150 something. We'll have to look back on that to see if I know this season I put up a big game, but we have to do some corrections on that. But if you're looking at all the breakdowns, this is how many gold, silver, or bronze trophies over the years various teams have gotten.
And we've been talking about this all season long, is that no person has won a gold twice.
Yeah, all in the gold column. Most anybody's ever gotten is 1 gold trophy. That's it.
That's it. And then so the people that haven't won a gold are me, Will, Gregory, Anthony, and then our newbies. And Linda, but she's never going to win one.
Because she's out.
Yeah, she's gone. But, so if I win this year, that means it's up to Will, Gregory, Anthony, Julie, or Annie to keep the trend one winner only going. But if you look at some of the other things to see who is most often going to the playoffs.
Well, most often getting a trophy.
Right. So that means either getting first, second, or third place. Me, Chris, and Brian are the most regulars when it comes to the trophy winners.
They're regulars. You've got 2 silvers, 2 bronze. Chris has hit the entire rainbow gambit with a gold, silver, and bronze. And Brian's got a gold and 2 silvers. Mm-hmm. I would like to point out, as much as we're giving him a hard time this season about being in the basement, Uncle Rob in early seasons did surprisingly well. Not only does he have a championship, which somehow he snaked that one, but he has a bronze trophy as well, which is like very impressive. You know, taking that 3rd place isn't something to scoff at. You have to really fight to get them. The ones that you can look that have gold trophies that are kind of like, how did they manage that? Are Nick, who snaked one as well.
And you, Brandon.
And me.
Apparently he was always talking a huge game, but I
had one season where I pushed for a championship. Now what this and we'll talk about this, what this doesn't show here, you see who's got gold, silver, and bronze, and Gregory's got a bronze, Anthony's got a bronze. By the way, Anthony got his bronze in the first season.
It has never come back.
And I like to think that the only reason was because nobody knew what they were doing yet. And Anthony was able to leverage that to a bronze. And that's as good as it's ever going to get for Anthony. And considering that last week he had Tom Brady on bye, I think I'm right.
Also, I'd like to point out the Filippos. They got a gold and a silver. They did not play for that many seasons and were pretty dominant. 3. So, yeah, we're kind of... So now we don't have to worry about them continuing to steal things. They can just continue to battle with Chris.
Yeah.
My nemesis.
But one of the things this chart doesn't show us is, in the first few seasons of the league, whenever we were still in our divisions, only 4 teams made playoffs. So in that first season, it was like Chris, Amanda,
Anthony,
and then whoever he was up against. I can't even remember that. We'll take a look at that later. But because only 4 teams made it, you only had the gold-silver matchup and then the bronze 4th place get out of here matchup. Now though, with 6 teams in the playoff run, we have 2 teams that are eliminated immediately, and that was the me and Nick game. Mm-hmm. And Nick and I we played each other last week, and then we were originally set to play each other again this week in a game that doesn't really matter. I think it'd be very fascinating to see if you have those top teams there, who's going to get the bronze. It'd be kind of interesting to have the 4 teams that got eliminated from that gold-silver game have like a 4-way matchup to see who gets bronze there, and have a 4-person like high score wins it for the bronze place. So that might be something we look at for later years, because if we are going to hand out these bronze trophies here, are you just going to give it to the persons that go a little bit further, or are you going to say like, look, all the people in playoffs are kind of losers at this point, bundle them all together and do something neat with it. Otherwise, we have to do what we had this year, where we had to kind of like shuffle a bunch of games to make things interesting again. So that might be something to look at for later years.
And guys, if you like this stats information, keep hanging in there. Keep tuning in because Brandon and I have more coming next week and some weeks beyond that because we need something to do on Saturdays during COVID.
Yeah, so I've got some plans in the works right now.
When he says plans, he means here in our house with the computer.
Yeah, I'm currently compiling every season's stat lines for all of the teams that played for all the weeks.
He's made it like 3 years, and he's on row 400 and.
It's like 462. So it's going to be this huge Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to go over like history of the leagues, who's done what, nemesis matchups, and we're also going to talk about during the off season possible drafting strategies that people may want to implement. As much as Uncle Rob loves his classic
Ben Roethlisberger
2 to 3 quarterbacks and make sure you get as many Steelers as possible. Are there other things that people
and
might
don't forget the one year
not know?
that Rob broke out of that and played Lamar Jackson. That was the year he won. So sometimes change is good.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about a whole bunch of things in our later episodes throughout this off season. But for right now, go watch that Seahawks game and let's see who wins this one and gets.
I want
a
it
Vinnie
so
pie.
bad. We need to have 8 winners so
We'll
we can
see.
carry it on to next year.
We'll
Chris
see.
cannot be the first to break the multiple wins.
I hope not, because that's supposed to be me.
You talk a big game. We looked at the stats. You only had 1
Goodbye,
goal.
everybody. Nah, I'm gonna get it. And this year we can actually get the Vinnie pies because we're both in Pittsburgh. You and Chris.